Jessica was a freshman at one of the nation's most prestigious colleges. Raised in a wealthy household, her life had been filled with privilege, comfort, and support. Her parents adored her, and she had a promising future ahead. Amidst the elite academic halls, she found something unexpected: love. Chris, a bright, grounded young man from a middle-class background, quickly became her anchor in the whirlwind of college life. Despite their social differences, they connected effortlessly, free of judgment or insecurity. They were the kind of couple people admired. One weekend, Chris invited Jessica to visit his hometown and meet his mother. Jessica, nervous yet excited, welcomed the opportunity. She had heard so much about Kim, the woman who raised Chris single-handedly, and was curious to meet the person behind the strength and warmth Chris carried. Their journey took them to a modest suburb, a stark contrast to Jessica's lavish upbringing. When they arrived, Jessica was warmly welcomed into Kim's home. Kim was stern but thoughtful, sharp-witted but kind. While Chris stepped out to run errands, Jessica and Kim were left alone, allowing an unexpected connection to form. Their conversation flowed with ease, touching on everything from literature to life philosophies. Jessica admired Kim's honesty and the depth of her convictions. Later, Chris suggested the two women enjoy a night out together, just some pool at a nearby bar, a chance to bond further. Jessica agreed, feeling strangely excited. The bar was nearly empty as the night wore on, and laughter filled the quiet spaces between pool shots. With each drink, each glance, the atmosphere shifted, curiosity replacing formality, intrigue overtaking politeness. And then it happened. A kiss. Hesitant at first, then undeniable. For a moment, time froze. The implications loomed large, but the emotions that surged were undeniable. Jessica's breath caught as she tried to make sense of the moment. Their night blurred into shadows and whispers, dim lights painting silhouettes of something neither of them could name. But the illusion shattered when Chris unexpectedly walked in. Jessica and Kim were still seated at the bar, too caught up in their moment to notice him. Chris's face twisted in confusion and anger. "What is going on?" he demanded. Kim tried to defuse the situation, stumbling over her words, but Chris was already backing away. Betrayal and disbelief etched deep in his expression. He stormed out, leaving a heavy silence behind. The car ride home was quiet. Jessica stared out the window, her mind spiraling. What had she done? She had hurt the person she loved and crossed a line neither age nor reason could ignore. But in the quiet that followed, Kim reached across the seat, brushing Jessica's hand. The gesture reignited something they hadn't fully extinguished. Back at Kim's house, words failed them. Desire overpowered guilt. They gave in once again, lost in each other. Jessica didn't answer Chris's calls. She couldn't. Every time the phone rang, she felt a knot of guilt twist in her chest, but she couldn't bring herself to hear the pain in his voice. Eventually, Chris stopped calling. Days passed. Jessica stayed in her dorm, her thoughts a tangled mess of shame, confusion, and longing. Then, one afternoon, a message from Kim lit up her phone. "I'm nearby. Can I see you?" Without hesitation, Jessica agreed. Kim pulled up to campus in her vintage Mustang, the low growl of the engine announcing her arrival. Students turned their heads as the older woman confidently approached Jessica, who stood waiting by the dorm entrance. They exchanged a quick, charged kiss. Jessica didn't care who saw. Not anymore. Inside her dorm, they clung to each other again, locked in a complicated blend of passion and desperation. But reality knocked again when Jessica decided to finally speak with Chris. She visited him at his apartment. At first, The meeting felt like old times, warm, nostalgic, but Chris quickly sensed something had changed. Jessica confessed, "I've developed feelings for someone else, for your mother." Chris was stunned, hurt. "I never meant for any of this to happen," she said softly. "I just need time to understand what all of this means." Chris nodded, holding back tears. "At least you told me," he whispered. Jessica left with a heavy heart, knowing no matter how gently she handled it, someone she cared about was deeply wounded. Later that week, Jessica video called Kim. They spoke little, just shared the silence and presence they'd come to crave. Kim promised she'd come by again. Jessica got ready carefully, choosing her dress with intention. When Kim arrived, Jessica stepped into her car without hesitation. As they drove through the night, Jessica recounted her conversation with Chris. Kim simply said, "I just want to make you happy, no matter what that looks like." Their night didn't end at dinner. In a quiet alleyway, they gave in to their emotions once more. What did the future hold? Neither of them knew. It was messy, unconventional, and laced with heartbreak. But it was real, and sometimes love doesn't follow the rules. Sometimes it demands its own space in the world, no matter the cost.